All righty. Good to see everybody. Brittany, it's good to have you here with us. Tom, you make sure she knows that. I love Brittany. Brittany loves me. I just tell you, this is going to be straight up. So glad to have you with us, sweetheart. You're a sweet young lady. Jameson, Jameson, Jameson. Turn this all the way off. All the way off. Yes. That's the wrong guy, wasn't it? The wrong guy. That's my boys back there, them two boys. This morning, we're going to ask the question, God, where are you? And as you look across this picture, I don't know why I'm still getting feedback. As you look at this picture here, you see a expanse of water. And there's a lot of expanses of water. Deb and I one time were in the Outer Banks, North Carolina, and we were riding a ferry from one place to an island. That's the only way to get there was take that ferry. And we're sitting in our car because the car is on the ferry, and the boat's bouncing up and down. The waves are 8 foot tall, and I looked at them and I said, I guess this is normal. There don't seem to be nobody alarmed. So, of course, I'm from Kentucky, so I got out of the car, and I wasn't worried, but because I felt like they knew what they were doing. But this other guy gets out, and he said, is everything all right? And I said, I don't know. So we watched the waves bounce up and down. But sometimes we can get caught up in life storms. That's what this lesson is about. I want you to hope that you'll appreciate it. Genesis chapter 3, verse 9. The Lord God called to Adam and said to him, where are you? Genesis 3, that's early in the Bible. You don't have to look very far. God asked Adam, where is he? This is the very first question asked in the Bible. If you can't read these things, you got to get your eyes fixed, because I fixed them big this time. I said, ain't nobody going to say that I couldn't see the very first question that was ever asked in the Bible. God asked Adam, where are you? Why did he ask that question? Why would God ask that question? Was he concerned about Adam? I think so. I think God had created Adam and Eve in his own image. He created Adam, and then he created Eve out of the rib that he took from Adam's side, made in God's image. God was absolutely concerned about him. Had God misplaced Adam? Not likely. Not likely. We sometimes question things because we've misplaced it. Where's the car keys? Where'd I put that letter? Where'd I put that blah, 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 doctor's appointment notice? God had not misplaced Adam. Did he not know where Adam was? Maybe he just didn't know where he was. But let's look at this question a little bit. Psalms 139 verse 4 says what? For there's not a word on my tongue, but behold, Lord, you know it all together. Anything I say, anything I think, God knows it all together. He knows every bit of it. He knows sometimes we say stuff without really thinking, don't we? All of us do that from time to time. Yes, yes. We say stuff without thinking. Sometimes we say it maliciously. Sometimes we put something on Facebook or something to poke somebody just a little bit, don't we? God knows every one of those words. We talked this morning in Bible class. Ben, you always have a great Bible class. But we talked in Bible class this morning how sometimes we take God's name in vain, and maybe sometimes don't even mean to. But we say little flippant statements and things like that are derogatory to God, and we should not do that. God knows it all together. He knows everything that we're thinking, and certainly he knows everything. Psalms 147:4, look what that verse says. He counts the number of the stars. He calls them all by name. How many stars' names do you all know? I don't know if I know any or not. I might guess at one or two. But there's a lot of stars in there. If you don't believe that, you go out on a hillside sometime on a dark night, and there's no lights around, that's what I mean to say, and there's no clouds around, and you just try to start counting the stars. You won't make it very far. He calls them all by name. Why does he know what the stars' names are? Because he made them all. He made every single one of them. He knows every word that we say. He knows all the stars by name. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. And no preacher, Matthew 10:30, will say it without reference somebody in the audience that don't have any hair. It's common nature, okay? But we're not going to There's nothing wrong with not having any hair. Well, we had a preacher one time said that his hairs had rather jump out as turn gray. So I think that's a pretty good way. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Hebrews 4:13, we're continuing this look into God, why he might have been confused. There is no creature hidden from his sight, but all things are naked and open to the eyes of him to whom we must give account. All of us are naked from time to time. When you get out of the shower, and sometimes when I get out of the shower, if I'm on vacation or somewhere, they got a big mirror there, okay? And it's less than ideal for me to get out and see myself standing there dripping wet, naked. It's less than ideal. Let's just say that, okay? I don't have that at home. My mirror's up higher, and it's not as big, okay? But sometimes we're ashamed of our nakedness, aren't we? Sometimes we're embarrassed by our nakedness. But God says nothing's hidden from you. God sees you with all your warts, just as what we are, okay? And that's okay. God made us. He's our children. Mamas, daddies know when their little babies have got something wrong with them because they're looking at them, okay? They're looking at these little babies. His little toe looks like it's bothered him. He's got a little rash there on his arm, the baby does. Why? Because they love him. And they're looking out for him, right, Ellie? You're watching them babies, aren't you, honey? You take that little diaper, you're looking at everything, okay? Because that's what caring mothers do. They check them little babies out. God is our caring Father. He wants us to be all right. He wants us to be healthy and happy. No creature is hidden from his sight. All things are naked and open to him. We don't need to put a big coat on or a cloak or hide under the covers. God still sees. To whom we must give an account. Folks, if you don't remember anything else, remember this today. We must give account to God when life is over. You can be as mean as you want to. You can be as hateful as you want to. You can be as contrary as you want to. But folks, you don't have to answer to me. You don't have to answer to Lucille or Josh. You have to answer to God. If you don't remember anything else, we must give account to who? To God. For if our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart and knows all things, from 1 John 3:20. Why then would God ask Adam where he was? He knows the hairs on our head. He knows the thoughts of our hearts. He knows the words that's coming from our lips. Why would God ask, what's wrong with you, God? You know all these things. You know the stars in heaven, them all named. How would you not know where Adam is? Might it be that Adam wasn't where he's supposed to be? Might it be that Adam wasn't where he should have been? I think now we're starting to find the reason God's asking the question. It's a rhetorical question, okay? God knows where Adam is. He knows what Adam had done. He knows exactly where he is. But now it's time for Adam to God, or to whom, but he has to give to whom. He has to give an account to God. He has to give an account to God. God knew where. Do we sometimes ask God where he is? Folks, I don't know about you all, but there's times in my life that I've been overworked and underpaid and overstressed. And when you get overpaid and not enough sleep and overstressed, not enough money to pay the bills, things get pretty hairy, don't they? And it's not much fun. You're working hard. You're getting up early. You're staying up late. You're doing the very, very best you can. You've got a wife and you've got kids. These people are counting on you. They're dependent on you. You've got your church family that loves you and is counting on you, dependent on you. You as a brother, you as a son, you as a daddy, you as a grandfather. You got people counting on you. And sometimes you're overwhelmed. And sometimes you wonder, what's the point? What's the point? I'm killing myself. And I'm trying to be the right kind of husband. I'm trying to be the right kind of daddy. I'm trying to be the right kind of neighbor. I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to pay my bills. I'm working hard. And it seems like all I'm doing is getting knocked down. And you wonder, God, I need a little help here. I'm trying to be a good person, but I need a little help. Where are you, God? Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minute to hours? This is a picture of the Edmund Fitzgerald It was a 1,000-foot iron ore boat. You ever seen a boat? 1975, 29 men lost their lives. Can you imagine those men waiting the news? Where's the Edmund Fitzgerald? Where is it? It should be back. It should be back in the harbor. There's been a bad storm on Lake Superior. Do you know how much water is in Lake Superior? Lake Superior is 1,332 feet deep. One lake, not all the lakes, Lake Superior, 1,332 feet deep. You could take the water in Lake Superior out of it and cover up North and South America with water a foot deep. All of North America, all of South America, and the water would be a foot deep. That's a lot of water, folks. And when you sink in 1,332 feet of water, you know what you got? You got to, there's no rescue operation. There's nobody survives. Lightfoot, he wrote that song after, and it was a huge hit. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? You all have sat at the hospital, and how is Grandpa? Is he going to be all right? And the wait endures. It continues. It continues. And it's the news is not good. One wave after another. And here comes the nurse. Here comes the doctor. They're a little bit better. They're a little bit worse. Sometimes we wonder, where does the love of God go? Why do I have to endure this? Some people die relatively painless deaths. Other people die very hard deaths. And we all know people that die just that way. Those people on that airplane the other day, 64 people coming from Kansas to Washington, D.C. 1 second, they're perfectly fine. They're just about ready to land. Everything's good. They got to get their rental car. They got to find whoever's picking them up. Got to get their luggage. Got to get back to school. Blah, 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 blah. And they're gone, just like that, through no fault of their own. Accident. That's a pretty easy way to die. It's a tragic way to die. It's a pretty easy way to die. Pretty bad way to die when you're on a big tanker, iron ore tanker, and it goes to the bottom of Lake Superior because it probably ripped the boat in half. Have you ever asked God where he was? Be honest with yourself. Don't answer out loud. Have you ever asked, God, where are you? I'm hurting here, going through a difficult time. Does he sometimes seem hard to find? I think so. I think there's times in our life that God seems very, very hard to find. What did Jesus ask? Matthew 27:46, Jesus, the Son of God, hanging on the cross, dying the most cruel of deaths. He had done a single, solitary, one tiny thing wrong. He hadn't thought anything wrong. He hadn't done anything wrong. He was good to everybody. He healed people. He fed people. He cared for people. He forgave them of their sins. And he says, my God, why have you forsaken me? Look, that's pretty telling. Has God forsaken his only begotten Son? So if you sometimes say, my God, have you forsaken me? Where are you? Don't beat yourself up too bad. Jesus himself said the same thing. Don't beat yourself up too bad. Because life is hard. And Satan's in charge of this world. And he'll dish out everything it takes to win you over to him, to make you give up on God. It's doubtful if any of us have ever experienced anything like dying on the cross. I'm confident of that. Now, that don't mean you've not had issues, problems, but not like dying on the cross. The answer to our question today, God is exactly where he's always been. He's exactly where he's always been. Just like Adam, it's most likely we're the ones that move. Would y'all agree with that? God is where he's always been. We probably the ones that have moved. Okay? It's just like what's our solution? What do we need to do? Get back to God. You can read it on the screen. We got to get back to God. Folks, I don't know where you are, but you got to get back to God. We read this, just a few minutes ago there about the prodigal son. The boy winds and finds himself in the hog a lot with the pigs and would like to have eaten some of the corn husks that the pigs didn't eat. But he couldn't get to them. He said, they servants at my dad's house got it better than I got it. I'll go back and just ask Daddy to make me a servant and I'll be good. That'll be better than this. Anything's better than this. We all know people that's been gone for a long time and they come back home. And how grateful their parents are to see them, or the grandparents, or the whoever. People sometimes just disappear. But they need to realize they can come back. We've got to get back to God. I put this up here, and I put I put an exclamation point with these next three things. We must return at once. Why must you return at once? Because you could be on the airplane coming back from Kansas in 1 second, folks. Kevin drives 5 or 6 days a week, and you see wrecks all the time, don't you? And sometimes Kevin says, oh, that's a bad one. He will be talking to me, oh, that's a bad one. And we can tell when it's bad. They close the roads, ambulances, fire trucks, every kind of vehicle in the world. Bad situation. Wreck in front of Leland's house the other day, a terrible Leland, right in front of his house. Car upside down in the ditch. Folks, life can be over. We need to return at once. You can't wait around because life is too brief. Without hesitation. We need to return with that. Why would you hesitate? Why would you hesitate? What's putting you, well, I need to get back to God. I know that, but I need to do, you can fill in the blank. Nothing you can fill in the blank with is as important as getting back to God. This is number one. I have always told my children, and Deb and I have, and we've told ourselves, there's a need to prioritize, okay? There is a need to prioritize. When something needs done, take care of it, okay? Don't put it off. Don't put it off, because then it gets real complicated, okay, if it puts it off. If your check engine light comes on in your car, you better get it checked. Something's going on. Kevin has always been real proactive with his truck, because Kevin don't want to be in Austin, Texas when the breaks down, do you, Kevin? That's expensive, big problem. When Kevin's truck breaks down, he's got to have it fixed. He's got to have it towed possibly, and he is making zero money, right, Kev? Zero. He don't make a dime if his truck is not running. That's why he has to keep the truck on the road. That's why the factories, Jimmy, they got y'all working night and day. Keep the thing to make a living. We understand that completely. The cattle have to be checked on Sunday, don't they, Jimmy? Zach, they got to be checked on Sunday just like Saturday or Friday. You've got to do that. So, but the priority in your life has to be, I have got to get back to God without delay, without hesitation. Oh, here's that, without delay. I'm trying to drive home the point. Don't wait around. James chapter 4, verse 8, the Bible tells us, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. Oh, it seems odd. When Deb and I started dating a long time ago, back in 1973, I liked this like she liked me a little bit. And so I wanted to stand a little closer to her. And she didn't run away. She scooted a little closer to me. First thing you know, I put that arm up there and maybe tried to hug her just a little bit. Didn't I, Deborah? Deb will tell you how smooth I was. It's historical. We draw near to God, he'll draw near to you. You know what I can't wait to do when I leave church today? Come back tonight. I want to be here. I want to see Tom, and I want to see Pat, and I want to see Tom. I want to see all of you. I want to see you because I love you. I love you. And every time we come together, I learn something, and I learn more how much God loves me and what Jesus was willing to do for me. When I see somebody talking at the Lord's Supper, when I hear somebody pray, when I hear them reading from God's Word, it just reinforces the love that they have for their God and that God has for us. Draw near to God, he'll draw near to you. What does Isaiah chapter 55, 6-7 say? Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way and the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return to the Lord, and he will have mercy on him and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon. Well, I can stay over here in this rut, and I can stay over here in this sinful world that I'm living in, and it's all right, but I better call upon the Lord while he can be found. Because if I'm on the plane that's flying from Kansas to Washington, D.C. the other night, they have no more chances. I'm not judging any of those people, but those people have zero chances to call upon the Lord. And that's sad, folks. That's sad. You better call on the Lord while he may be found. Well, I'll wait till June. I'll wait till September. I'll wait till Christmas. Then I'll get right with the Lord. I'll wait till I get out of high school. I'll wait till I'm feeling better. I'll wait till I'm in a better relationship with my spouse or my girlfriend or boyfriend. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. Call on the Lord while he may be found. He will abundantly pardon. I don't care what you've done wrong, how many sins you've made in your life, God will forgive you if you come to him in the right heart. Hebrews 10:22, let us draw near with a true heart. A true heart. Don't be playing games. Don't be playing games. God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man sows, that will he also reap. Draw near with a true heart. The reason I'm coming home to you, God, is because I've been away from God. You're in the same place. I've been away, and I need to get back. I need to get back. Your heart has to be true. Your heart has to be right. Your heart has to be sincere. Don't be playing games with God, because God, who knows the number of hairs on your head, who knows the stars in heaven, he knows when you're playing with him, okay? You may fool Don Botal. You may fool Jimmy Kersey. You may fool Jill. Having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. Folks, if you need to be baptized this morning, you can be baptized this morning. The water's warm. We have clothes. We will baptize you this morning. Your bodies will be washed of the sin that they have. Your bodies will be purified. Jesus says this. Jesus, the one who stood there, hung there on the cross and begged God, God, Father, why have you forsaken me? Come to me, all you labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Folks, when I was telling you a while ago, some of the hardships that we all go through, and we're talking about those things like that, you know who I always had in my corner? God. I never left him. I never left him. I may have wondered sometimes, why are you not helping me out more than you are? But I didn't leave him. Okay? When Deb and I were married, the main person we had in the room with us when we got married was God. And we've kept him the whole way how we did. He's still in the room with us. He's the main person in the room. We've got a good marriage. It's because we got the Lord right there with us the whole way. Jesus said, come unto him and learn of him. His yoke is easy. His burden is light. I spend most of my time smiling. I really do. I try to be pleasant wherever I go. And the reason I'm happy, and I will tell you any time, any place, and I know he loves me. He's going to look after me. If I die tonight, I'm good to go. Because I know the Lord loves me. Because I learned a long time ago, I'm just going to throw it on him. Climate change, politics, fretfulness, worries, tragedies, I'm just going to give it to the Lord. I'm going to do the very best I can while I'm here. And then one of these days, I'll check out, and it'll be all right. I hope you feel the same way. It's time for us to stop hiding from God. Hiding from God is an effort in futility. There's no way you can do it. The covers won't do it. Turning the lights off won't do it. Sneaking off behind your wife's back or your neighbor's back, that won't do it. God knows where you are. It's time to stop playing games, as we talked about just a moment ago. It's time to come home. Folks, I don't know where you are. You've been gone. But just like the prodigal son, you can come back home. And I hope that what I've said today will help you understand God is right where he has always been. If you've fallen away from God and you need to get back in God's good graces, draw near to God, and he'll draw near to you. Draw near to God, and he will lift you up. And folks, your rest of your life might be a struggle. It might be a monumental struggle that you think there is no way that anybody needs to be treated this bad that's ever lived, as bad as I've been treated. But one of these days, it'll all be over. And one of these days, you'll stand before the judgment seat of God. And Jesus Christ himself will do the judging. Not your neighbors, not your preacher, not your elders, not your wife, not your children. Jesus himself will say the words you want to hear. Enter into the joys that have been prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Folks, God's where he's always been. Please examine yourself this morning and find out, am I where I need to be? And if I'm not, I need to come home. Please come as we stand and sing if you have any need whatsoever.